Hello everybody and welcome back to another tutorial in camera lens repair, and this time I will continue with the shutter in the Fuji GW690 version 3, and it's a SEIKO shutter in the camera, but I would like to show you how one can go in and fix that blade. You probably can see there is something missing here, but the blade is actually sitting out here in that position here. So I will take it apart, not really fully apart, because I will again introduce my small homemade tools here, which is, very handy to actually put the whole shutter back into the housing. One can, of course, which I started out with, use dental floss threads in different size, and it works pretty good to hold the springs back into the shutter. So we can take a look inside and see what we actually can do. Yeah, we'll just dig into it, and we need to take off the tiny screw here. I use a 1mm flathead screwdriver, and then I will turn the ring here and get the front plate off here. So and be careful of the small screw and not missing it. It's not, I think it's non-magnetic, made of probably brass or so, but we really have to be careful, because where to get another screw of those. Now, earlier I set a mark here on this particular ring, and we can just do it for now. And I also set a mark here, so I know where it should sit at that when you put it back in again. So we can just turn the ring. I think it should not sit that tight. They usually do not that, because if they do, it will be harder to turn the actual exposure ring, which on the other hand have to be loose, quite loose. But when you unscrew it, have a good grip here when it's loose, because we have a cocking ring underneath, and also small parts. The shutter has, of course, been released, so you have, if the shutter is cocked, you just press here, so release the shutter. So you can just take that ring out, and then we can dig into more of this shutter. This is another homemade tool. I usually like to make my own tools or modify something else. There is actually two guide pins here. There's one guide pin here, and there is another one over here. So it's impossible to put that front ring in the shutter. You can see the click of the exposure ring, and then we can take out the ring here, which is connected to the inner ring here, which is the cam ring that sets the exposure. And it's a more simple shutter than if it was an X and M or M and X or just an X or self-timer built in. This shutter has no self-timer. It's very simple. Oh, dust. So we can take that ring off. It can only sit in one position, as you can see here. This notch here has to sit with this pin here. Nothing really special about that. And then we can take off the cam ring. Be sure, because the cocking ring, which is underneath here, so you lift up the cocking ring, I mean the cam ring or whatever it's called, and just gently lift it up. So it looks like this. Everything really looks good in that shutter. And now we have the longer exposure gear, and over here that used to sit the self timer, as I remember. Maybe I'm wrong. This is the cocking gear and the cocking ring, which sits here. The main spring, I mean one of the spring. The main spring for the shutter is sitting underneath here, and this is for the cocking ring here. So when you cock the shutter, the gear will turn that way over here and click into place because of this here. It will be locked into place by this pin here. The thing is, when you put things back into the shutter, those, I mean, there are, not in this case, but there's, in this case, there are two springs here underneath this, and also deeper into here. And they are quite annoying to get in. So that's why I made those small tools, which is very, very handy. But since I started with the dentist floss thread, which can be put on the spring over here and over to this post here, and the other one, which is here, it was going onto another pin, but still it's actually it makes things a little easier if it's only, and that's important for me to tell in this case, it's only this shutter blade that is falling out. Everything else is actually working quite good, so there is no need for taking apart all that stuff here. That's yeah. So what we do then, I'll just release the cocking ring, because then we are free of that. You can see it goes into here. There are some pins down here that it comes out there, and this especially this part down here, which is this one, it has to be free, because then the cocking ring can be moved and actually cock the shutter. So we have to put that back in again, but later on. So I can free this spring and then take out the cocking ring without any problem. There's nothing special about that. So here, and then things are getting more easy. We can also take that part out here, because it will just fall out. So no need for that. Okay, it's a little different from other SEIKO shutters, maybe this is just a newer version, because there used to be an axle here, a pin that goes into here, but this one does not have a pin. It's just a hole in the gear. So, well, then we can take out this part here. It will be the well, you could say the shutter button, or the shutter the shutter button that activates the shutter and fire. So I'll just try to take that out. There is also another spring underneath here, which is not that hard to get in. But you see, one can take out, if we lift it a little, just a little, so it come loose. You see, that spring here, you lift it out, and it's actually better with a dented tweezer. So we can lift it out. Hopefully there's nothing else. Ah, there was another spring. So we can take that out and get it free. And in that way, because that pin that sits here, it sticks on the inside here, and of course it cannot turn. So now this part is free to lift out, hopefully. There's nothing else connected to it. No. There shouldn't be anything else. Yeah, it's fine. Well, there actually was... Oh yeah, I forgot. You see, there's actually two ends here. So they made it different. Interesting. But there's still one spring down here that is quite annoying, and it's that spring here, this spring here that goes against the wall here, which I could use my small tool or the dentist flush. So interesting. Since I haven't been into this shutter before, it was a little surprising. Okay. Now, next thing is this part here. It has a spring that goes like the other. It goes against here. So it has to sit, it's stopped there. Hopefully you can see it. And we're quite close. So one can lift up that spring and get it free, and lift this part out. And it goes against itself. So you can see here, hopefully you can see the other end of the spring is actually there. So it's only one end is itself, and the other end is against this part here. Now I have to release this spring here, so take it out, so take the tension away from the other end. So now I can actually I want to try this dentist flush here. Maybe it's too long or too short, could be because I made different threads of I think I will take this and put it underneath this just need this tool here and put this underneath here. Hopefully I can do this. So I simply take this out. I mean this spring, not take it out, but release it from the side wall, which is not that easy. Okay, I can get that way here. And since the dental flush thread is extremely, what do you say, slippery, I hopefully can get it under the back of the spring. So now it fits good. Now I can hopefully do it like this, there, around this post, and in that way put the spring in a correct position. So see how it works here. And then if I pull in the thread, I can put it over that pin over here. And hopefully, not trying to pull too much, it came loose. But the idea is actually that it should be working like this. So, but of course I could also use my homemade tool to put on here, and hopefully it's possible to do that. Yeah, I think so. This tool is actually has a hole here, and it goes over this post here. So it's made to take the tension away of the spring, and in that way have the spring free of the sidewall. Now it can be difficult to see, but it's the first time I actually try it on another SEIKO shutter. Would have to have it free like this. If you have seen the other, I mean the first video where I show how this spring was working, you can probably see the idea of this tool. So I will just do so, and okay, it seems to work. So now there's no other spring that goes against the wall, and the spring will hold it itself because of the spring. And then I can flip the shutter over and simply unscrew the 4 screws underneath here and take the whole shutter housing out of the actual shutter. I just need to have something to put the actual shutter on, so it will stay where it should. Yeah, this little box can be fine. So just do this. It was just improvised. So now I can, this is with the not flathead screws like in the older version, but with the crosshead JIS screws. This is a JIS 2.5 millimeter, and you of course have to use those screws, I mean screwdrivers, not the Phillips. If you want to damage the screw head, well, you can do it. But sorry for, I'm in the frame with my hands. I hope you get the idea of this smart tool. Need to have the screw out, or it will be lost in a way. Not much magnetic. Well, you can just do that to keep the screw in there. So when the shutter is actually free, I should be able just open the aperture, and yeah, I think I will just, let's see what's happened here. I can just press down here in that gap and hopefully get it free without losing the blades. Hopefully there is something over here I can release. Well, it might be possible to grab underneath. Oh, and take the whole shutter housing out. Wow, that was easy peasy. And this is just what it is. Now back to the shutter. And you see, all the blades actually sit where they should, but since they are not in a correct position, especially this blade here, it comes loose because the camera has been dropped. It can happen, of course. So, and here we go, this, and all the blades look like in a good shape. Just need to sit correct. And this blade, of course, also, it's the first blade that comes in. But maybe I should just take the blades out so we can see what's going on. So, and you can see this blade is a bit in a wrong position. Not really, because it's a different shutter. So I can flip this over, and I think it must be that way it is. This one goes in here. Let's see what's happened. So maybe it isn't that way it has to sit. I'm not quite sure, but we'll have a look. So, yeah, you see, it's different from the older shutter. This blade has to sit because it has a little bend here, little bended tip. I can see there's also other thing that has that is marked here. So this blade will be the last blade, as I think. So it should sit like this. Hopefully. I think it's, yeah. We cannot do that. Yeah, I think it must be the right way because it's the last blade that goes in on top of it. And when the shutter is open, it will prevent the blade here from going underneath because of the tip is bended upward. So I think it's correct now. So now I can put the shutter back into the housing. And as you can see here, this is how the the aperture is actually looking. It's quite amazing, in my opinion. This is a spring for, the connection for the flash sync contact. So now we can put it back in again. And of course it has to sit correct. So I think, well, just have this free. There are two gaps here and here, and they sit here and here. And this gap here is all the way over here. So now we can just align the screw holes, just one, which is this hole here, and simply put the shutter over. The shutter housing over. So we can just do that. And with my smart tool or the dentist flush thread, it makes things a lot easier. So we do that here. Align the screw holes. Shouldn't be a problem here. But you see, you want to have the shutter, when you put it in, you put it in like that and put it over the internal shutter. So we do so. It should work. And then we can align the screw holes, so should be something like that, I guess. Yeah, it looks like it's fine. Then I can just tighten this. Hopefully it will catch the thread. Yeah, it got it. And we can open it. Yeah, everything looks fine. And then I can just take the rest of the screws, put it in, and then we are almost safe home. So now we can see what's happened on the other side. The spring down here is sitting correct, so I can simply pull out my tool and the spring will be in place again. How easy is it that way? And you can just press it down to the notch where it will stay in a safer place. And of course the other end of the spring has to go all the way over to that pin here. This pin here. And we have to make sure it's pressed down to the little notch. So it'll sit like that. And that's it. Maybe we can check it if I can get the shutter free. Maybe not. I don't know, it will work. Yeah. If I can just push on it. It seems like everything is fine. Well, I will just put in the gears and all the other stuff. And yeah, this pin comes in. Remember, it has the one end has to sit correct. And this one goes over this hole here. So. And the end of the spring goes around this post here. So we can simply do that. It's very thin, very small, that spring. So this one is actually working as it should. Now, the other part that comes over it, let's say this one spring is going against the side in here, side of the shutter. So when I put it over, make sure this part here is come on to the right position of this one here. So let's see what we can do. Put it over here, and this one I can simply push out that way, put this part over, and this spring, let's see what's happened here. This spring here, I mean this end of the spring has to sit correct. Let's see what's happened. This spring has to come on. Oh, once I mean the spring here. Let's see if we can show it. This spring here with this one, it has to come over this pin. Now it has to be lifted up and then put the spring onto here. It's difficult actually, because this one also have to sit there, so there is not so much space to do that. But maybe I can push on this. Yeah, we can do it that way. So push against the this part here, so like this, and this spring here. Not that easy. Oh, here we are. Hopefully this one has to be pulled out. So and the other end of the spring has to go against the wall, and that what the older spring has a different design that way, so sits there. So let's see what's happened. There. Yeah, it looks like it's fine. So, and this part here also moves as it should. So both springs sits on the correct side here. On this, let's see, on this post here. See? Now, then I should be able to put in the gear and the cocking ring. So this one has to sit like this here. Oh. No, not that way. It has to sit on the other side of that, the end of the spring here. So something like that, I think, must be. So one have to push. So it's set like this. So this end of the pin has to go against this part here. So when you cock the shutter, the wheel will go that way. I mean, counterclockwise. So now I can try to put this on, the cocking ring. And not necessarily put the spring on the post. And be aware of this pin here, because it has to be on the right side of this pin here. That's important. So we can try to put it in, see what's happened. And it has to sit. I mean, the cocking ring can only sit in one position, so that's it. But you see, we have to get the cocking ring into position there. So it has to sit there. And it will be at the beginning of the gear. So you can do that. So the first teeth there's not so much to do here. See, this has to be lifted up a little. Then you move this and push down the cocking ring. And the gear here has to sit like this. So everything should be in place. So when you actually can move the cocking ring here is correct. Then I can add the spring on this post, but be aware of pressing down the cocking ring when you do that. If not, it can be a little challenge to put on. So now the shutter is actually back to normal, and I will put on the cam ring and see if anything is working as it should. Oh, I have to put it correct in. So here. So it's correct. So if it's possible to cock the shutter, hopefully it is. There. Whoa. Everything is in proper order. And if we change the exposure time to something like, yeah. Or so. Oh, it's not fully in. So. Up. Something is not correct as I see it. So maybe it's not that easy. No. Yeah, It was just the wrong way. So if we do that, yeah, fine. That's not bad. And I think it has the T. Oh, B, you say. So we need the full open shutter, and we can just do a little. It will probably be blown into place, but let's see what's happened. If we set it to something. So everything is actually back to normal. How about that? Then I can put the outer ring in. It can only sit in one position. So, like this. Oh, there it is. And then I can put the click ring on. Has to sit correct. Of course, the two guide pins there and there. So, sit there. And that's all fine. And then this locking ring goes on, and of course the ring here does have not to be too loose or too tight, so be aware of that. And a little screwdriver here. Maybe you'll put, no, it's actually good. So then I can put the locking ring into place, and say that's, of course, the two screws on the back has to be there too. Okay, my my camera was, the card was actually full. So again, I want to put in this tiny little spring here. Not spring, screw. Well. So there, and put it into place. So that's all fine. We can just test it. Yeah. I mean, that's really good. So the shutter blade is in place. So I can also put the last two screws into the shutter here on the back side. And the last screw here. Of course, when I show it those tools here, it was the MNX or the XM version of the SEIKO shutter, and this one is just, well, I don't know exactly the version. Maybe it's only an X, or it's just a SEIKO shutter. I don't know. So it's more simple than the other one. Yeah, that was actually all for me. Not really, because I will put the shutter into the housing. Of course, I mean to the lens, of course, but it will be in the next part. So see you in part 3. That's all. Bye bye.